You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny both days and not as humid. Highs over the weekend around 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
We have to do this once a year. It's not my birthday, and it's not Chase's birthday. It is Dad's birthday. So happy birthday to you today. You can say Missouri. You can say Stanky. Jim Harbaugh is innocent. Everything. I'm going to be like Tom today with you. Everything you say, I'm going to agree with today. Is that what you want for your birthday?
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Everybody has to have one.
Yeah.
And I happen to have one with a big number on it. And although I didn't want it to get out, I took it off everything I could, but whatever. Didn't work. So, but I appreciate it.
Not that hard. To know it's your birthday, when you have it every year, it pops up on things, but I
don't like it.
Well, I won't say your age. I know it's out there, but for somebody to be doing a radio show and kicking around and enjoying life, you should be proud. So anyway, happy birthday to you today. Before we get started, once again, if you want to call and wish Dad a happy birthday, I'm sure he would appreciate that. 205-342-9904. Tom, you can call and agree with everything. Well, you do that anyway, so agree with everything he says. But we want to thank Yellowwood. They make this 7 o'clock hour possible. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, then believe me, you certainly don't want it. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. All right, Dad, what
well, we have
headlines
a
we
good
got
day
today?
As far as guests are concerned. I wanted to mention that I happened to run into Steve Skipper the other day, and I'm not going to tell you what he's going to do. Nothing about me and nothing about the university, but he has a real honor to be doing something for some people overseas. And he also was working on he didn't tell me what selections he's worked on for Coach Saban, so I asked him to be on the show. He's done some of our stuff, our bench. I have Barry about 7 of those under my bed upstairs. So when you clean out for me, take those 7 and give them to somebody that he painted of our team. So, but it's not anything about me today. I'm not trying to bring that in. I want to make that clear. It's about him and what he's doing for Coach Saban and what he's going to be asked to do overseas, and he'll announce that to you. Of course, JC is always very good, very knowledgeable, so we got a very good show, and Bill Clark tomorrow. Anyway, the Wyndham Golf Tournament is going to be started without any fans because of the weather and the storm, and not sure exactly what's going to happen there. We mentioned this yesterday. Texas lost one of their best running backs, which will be very hurtful to them. Everybody will forget that, but it was. In the Harbaugh thing, he has the list of the show calls. I had felt like that he didn't maybe he did not know, and I don't know that he did, the exact what went on in the sign stealing allegations. I felt like he might have gotten by with that one.
Yeah, they haven't ruled on that one. The one they got him on yesterday was recruiting during COVID.
Yeah, he got recruiting, and I don't know everything that went down on him, but no doubt during the recruiting part, he had some problems. So as far as the two coaches, they've been put on administrative leave at Hoover High School. Hoover High School is a big school. Got a lot of students. A lot of people can be unhappy very quickly. I don't know anything about it. Not sure what went down. I do know that they grabbed the face mask and they've had. Yeah,
they've lawyered up there now. So and the lawyer, they're not going to say the kid's name. Two kids. One of them has a lawyer. The lawyer's calling for the job. So I hate that. I don't know what happened, and said the kid was humiliated. So they're going after, these lawyers are going after Drew Gilmer's job. So he obviously just took that job from Clay Chalkville. So normally those lawyers get involved. It usually does not end very well. Whatever. But
anyway, on the Olympic front, 27 golds, 35 silvers, 32 bronze. Gabby Thomas, the 200-meter, was terrific last night, or yesterday. We saw it last night. She's a very attractive girl, and ran terrifically well. And I thought stood up very nicely during the playing of the national anthem. Not any heroic stuff. So I thought she had a lot of. People like to use the word class, and I guess you could use the word class there. So I'm very careful using that word. But Braves lost 8-5. They're 60-53 in trying to get somewhere with injuries that they've had. We'll see what happens there. That's really about all I had. I've been busy trying to get some other things done, but I don't know that anything came up on any of the stuff that I looked at that I didn't halfway say yesterday. We welcome you to come in and talk with JC after JC, prior to JC, and we welcome you to talk a little bit about what Steve Skipper's done. Steve's got a unbelievably talented young man. He has really got a lot of talent, and if you've seen his stuff, you will enjoy looking at it. So we'll talk to him about Barry, and I'll talk to him about that. I think it's a little bit of a different approach right now. We don't have a whole lot of people to interview because they're all busy. I will say that Coach DeBoer, after practice, had the ice cream truck come by, and everybody at practice got ice cream. So that's quite different than it was the last several years with Coach. So not a whole lot. Welcome your calls, and thank all of you for wishing me a happy birthday. As I said, if you're fortunate enough, everybody has one, and that happens to fall on August 8th. Appreciate it.
Yeah. The ice cream truck, they said that the receiver, Bernard, that transferred from Washington, said that was something that Coach did at Washington. So the first day in pads, which was yesterday, when practice was over, Chase, the ice cream truck, was there. And I guess I like me some ice cream. I'm going to get me some ice cream. He also said that he likes to bring food trucks to practice. So after practice, they go, sometimes you eat in the cafeteria there at the Malmore building. You eat there every day. Sometimes that gets old, so they bring the food trucks out there, and they'll eat at the food truck. So I think all that stuff is different. The ice cream, I think it's good. Kind of stuff is good. So anyway, we'll go ahead and take a break here if you guys want to call in and agree with everything Dad says today, then you can certainly do that.
Don't do it. The show will be ruined if you agree with me.
It's his birthday today. Jim Harbaugh is innocent, and it is St. Louis, Missouri. Chase, tell your mom she lives in Missouri. She does live in Missouri.
I'll text her right now.
2-minute truck. They're a great sponsor of ours. They're at 1330 Martin Road East. That's where you go when you start to prepare for this move, because you got to have boxes, you got to have packing supplies. They can do all that for you if you'd like, but if you want to do it yourself, swing by there. And if there's a local move out of town, out of state, no problem. They'll take great care of you and your stuff. Move it is stressful. Let the professionals handle it. 205-247-5050. It's 2-minute truck. Movers who care.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It is back to school time, and it definitely is packed in on your roadway, so much so that we've already had a car fire, unfortunately. And this is on 2059, completely shut down on the northeast lanes between Holly Springs and Joe Malisham Parkway. That's a very long stretch, folks. So this is going to cost you a big time reroute. And we're also looking at an accident in Cottondale still. This is on University at Skyland Boulevard. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning. Some 19,000 plus students report to classes this morning at the Tuscaloosa County school system. City schools began yesterday, and school systems across Alabama began over the next few days. Remember to stop for school buses when lights are flashing and the stop sign is deployed, and obey speed laws.
These changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays hot and dry today with a sunny sky, the high 95. Clear tonight, the low 75. Tomorrow sunny with a high at 94. Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny both days and not as humid. Highs over the weekend around 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Did you miss any episode on Tide 100.9? Don't worry. All of our shows can be found on Spotify and Apple Music and on demand on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Build the 5-star backyard. You want to use Yellowwood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. All right, several phone calls here holding. We'll get through them real quick. Get to the Yellowwood hotline and bring Max in. Good morning, Max.
Hey, Max. Good, how are you?
I don't hear him. I'm not hearing him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead, Max. Sorry.
Okay. Hey, Coach, I just wanted to say happy birthday to you, man.
Appreciate it.
You're a great man. You're a great coach. You're the Bear Bryant of Alabama basketball, man. You're the first basketball coach I remember in my life, and you brought a lot of joy to me as a young man watching your teams, and I greatly appreciate that. And you're very welcome, Barry. Coming from a man that doesn't have a father, cherish every second you get with this man. Because you're a great man, too, and I'm sure he's a large part of it.
Sure. He is. And I appreciate you calling, and I know he does as well. So
yeah, I do. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Max.
All right, roll tide, gentlemen. That's all I had to say.
Thank you, Max. All right, back down to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Hey, Philip.
Hey, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate what you brought to all of us. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
what's up this morning? You got anything this morning?
I do. I got a blue plate idea for you. That first one. Vanderbilt is playing Virginia Tech in Nashville. That might be kind of an interesting game.
Yeah, it probably is. I've looked at one. I tell you what I've done. I haven't looked at them real close yet because I know they're going to be injuries. And I didn't want to jump on my thoughts too quick, so I was kind of let it die down to a little bit closer. So I know, people getting injured, things have happened. I don't like to try to change. So I had to study as much as I need to, but I got to because we're having it sponsored.
Yeah, by the Chuck Norwood team. Go to chucknorwood.com. RE/MAX Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell down in the Gulf Shores or Orange Beach area. Hopefully you have a better record this year, Philip.
I tell you what, he's tough on that now. He's tough. Hey, Coach Sanderson, did I understand you correctly that you had some Steve Skipper basketball paintings?
Yeah. He did of our court. Unless you know the assistant coach, he had Annette in the audience. And then I had about 7 of them, and I put them all. I've got one of them framed. I put them under my bed, and you know what's going to happen when time comes for me before Barry and my family. When they pull that out, they can find about 7 people they can give them to.
Wow. That is amazing. I'd love to see what it look like. That's got to be, because he's fantastic. And
he's very talented. He's going to do something.
The fact that, like, the one he's talking about, like, he did it, like, he painted it with, like, dots. It's amazing the detail that he can do painting. It's unbelievable how they do. I don't know how they do that.
Oh, he's incredible. I love his style, and that is very interesting. I never knew he did that with basketball, and I wonder if he's got any of those for sale.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll say something to him.
Yeah. Hey, you guys have a great day. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Philip. Back to the Yellowwood Hotline. Get Tony. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's been a long time. Y'all doing okay?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Fine.
I'm doing well. Thank you. Happy birthday, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Guys, the basketball question I had, and I know it's blasphemous to talk basketball during football season, but I'm going to.
Not on this show. We don't want to talk football all day.
Yeah. Guys, I got to get away from it, too, sometime. This tournament that Alabama's in, I don't know why it's specifically called a tournament. It's the one that we play Notre Dame in Houston.
Yeah.
How does that work? It's some kind of a players tournament, but it's not in the tournament format. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because, Texas A&M's in it. So I don't know if they do 2 4-team brackets, how that's going to work, because I don't think Texas A&M and Alabama are wanting to play a neutral game there. And so it's a good question, because it's not a regular tournament format. And they're playing Houston in the first game out there, I believe.
That's correct. And then so if it's a tournament, you wouldn't know who you're playing in the second round, but they have us playing Notre Dame as well.
Okay.
And so I'm just a little confused about it. I don't know. I don't know if it's just a collection of schools going to play 1 or 2 games, and if it's actual tournament format like brackets. That's what I was confused about. I didn't know how it worked.
I know each team's getting $1 million. I don't know where that money's coming from. If there's 8 teams out there, that's $8 million before you even start.
That's right.
So I know I talked to Coach Odom. He actually is in charge of the Maui shootout and getting the teams for Maui, and he thinks it's still in Vegas because if it can continue, because the money they're giving is going to really hurt the Maui shootout, getting these teams to go, because people are going to want to go to Vegas to get the NIL money. We'll see if the new rules and all this stuff is allowed after this season.
Yeah, that was my second question about that. So, okay, well, gentlemen, that was what I had. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony.
You have a good day.
All right, back up to the Yellowwood Hotline. Get Tom. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Tom.
Hey, Perry, good morning. Happy birthday, Coach.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. As long as you can have a few of them, you're okay.
Tom, you got to agree with everything he says today.
No, you don't, Tom. You go out there. He didn't agree with me yesterday.
He does no wrong today.
Well, I apologize yesterday for my sin, so I hope I've been forgiven.
I told somebody, I said yesterday was really a good radio day because we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Is it Missouri or Missouri?
Whatever Coach says,
yeah.
You already know now. And today is stanky.
Yeah, it's stanky today.
Right.
And Jim Harbaugh, he had no idea. I can't believe those dirty, rotten scoundrels around him would cheat. It's disappointing.
Well, I'm not going to take up any airtime with explaining to Coach why you cannot get past the guilt of the sign stealing with Harbaugh, because It's complicated. I understand that, but I've studied it from top to bottom. And anyway, we'll get to that some other day.
You know what I don't like about that whole thing? Then Thomas Mars, who is Harbaugh's lawyer, I mean, they get in the paper and they just crush the NCAA. Well, the guy cheated. I mean, come on. We can't crush the NCAA because they're doing their job. It's like crushing a cop for giving you a ticket for going 90. He shouldn't have gone 90. Yeah. He's just doing his job. So.
Well, Mars is he's an expert at attacking the character of the players. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not football players, but players in a situation. And he's an expert at that. That's how he makes his money, and that's how he gets wins.
Yeah, he's the one that Houston Nutt was going after something else, and they went into his phone log, and they discovered that Houston was calling a lot of people he shouldn't have been calling.
Yeah, I tell you don't want to get in Mars crosshairs. I'm telling you, he's deadly. Yeah. And
we got Houston on next week. I got to be careful with that because he's very.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything about that. I really wouldn't because I don't know if y'all been keeping up with it, but this professor from the University of Texas is suing Lane Kiffin. Y'all read about that?
Yeah, that's so ridiculous, though.
That guy sues everybody and their brother. He's got like 5,000 lawsuits he's been involved in.
So that is true. Basically the guy wrote a book, Lane Kiffin put something about his book in a tweet and didn't cite him, so he's suing him now for that.
Oh, yeah, that's happened like 5 million times with that guy. He'll come up with a phrase that everybody uses and claim he owns it.
Yeah, that's pitiful. It's a sue world.
Yeah, I've never seen anything to beat it. But anyway, I wanted to tell Coach happy birthday and how much I've enjoyed him over the years. Your coaching, the ball, and your teams. I really have enjoyed it. I never have been, one of those big time season ticket guys. But when I did get to come, it was really
we had good
great
players. We had good players.
Oh yeah, God knows, man. That's the thing right there is how much we got to enjoy your players, how good they were, and how we took it for granted when it was happening. But I tell you what, it was a fabulous thing, and it was so
we didn't have any transfers back then.
So much freaking fun, Oak. It was fun. You brought fun to the Coliseum, and it was outstanding. Everybody knew it, ESPN and everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm going to agree with you today, Tom. Everything you
need to, because I tell you what, we'll put you on the right road if you'll just listen.
Yeah, I know. Hey,
I tell you what, I appreciate you and your dad. I really enjoyed the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Tom.
Tom, is Aliceville going to be any good in football and basketball this year?
Yeah, I've been talking to the kids. Went over the practice a couple times. They're going to be improved over last year. I don't know if we're going to have anything for Coach Wright. He's something else, but we'll see. We got good size and good speed. I know that.
You got a new basketball coach too, don't you?
Oh yeah, Coach Walker. He's my guy.
Yeah, but he left.
Oh, he did?
Well, I'm saying the guy that works at the prison is not coaching there anymore.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, double check me on that. I think I'm right about that.
I will. I've been seeing them at the gym. I don't live very far from the school, and I'm always in and out there seeing what's going on. But I've seen some kids going in like they're working out, and I generally go by there and see who all's playing.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom.
But I didn't know that. I didn't know Coach Walker left. I got to find out about that. I got to call his mom.
There you go. I'm giving you some news today. So hopefully it's correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
All right, take care.
All right.
Or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Mr. SEC Tournament Wimp Sanderson gives you his excellent analysis every weekday on Inside the Locker Room, right here on Tide 100.9.
Inside the Locker Room. I thank Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine for making this 7 o'clock hour possible. Get right to the Yellowwood hotline. He's the owner of thebigspur.com, has the Chief Sports app, does several different podcasts throughout the week. Joins us every Thursday, J.C. Sherbert. Good morning, J.C. How are you? How's your week?
Hey, good morning. It's been good. Good so far. Nice week so far.
J.C., I don't know if I asked you about this last week on the settlement with the NCAA and the 2 point whatever billion. They'll start paying that out not too long. But they slipped in a deal there on the NIL that I don't think people even realized was in there. And I'm not sure how they're going to monitor it. I guess any deal over $600 has to be approved. Now, I don't know if that's approved by the school, if there's going to be a department within the NCAA. I got to think that would be so many kids that would have to get this approved to justify them making what they're making. So they either approve it or I guess they can not approve it. If someone's caught taking the money and it hasn't gone through this committee, I'm assuming, then you can be ruled ineligible. What do you know about this rule? Is this going to be Is this going to be hard to enforce? Can they enforce it? If Auburn's promising these guys all this NIL money and recruiting now, are they going to actually be able to do it when they get there in 25 and 26?
Well, they'll just that part of it. The last part of it's an easy fix. You just flip whatever amount you promised over to revenue sharing. I mean, that's pretty easy, but I would guess. But it was sneaky. I think, like, for the good of the sport, that standpoint, Barry, I hope it stands. I think in general that's the right way to do it because you have a lot of NIL abuse. I believe that people that know the game understand that, The players should also understand that. You need competitive balance. Every sport on earth has rules, right?
Sure.
To maintain that. That said, I don't like the kind of sneakiness of it. I get it. I think they've opened themselves up to litigation again because you have a lot of players that don't really care about the sport. They don't really care about the players either. They're just money hungry, and they're going to sue the crap out of them. And I mean, they're going to say, hey, this is limiting, funds that the market dictates this guy gets. But we all know it's not really NIL. So, I don't know if it's going to stand up in court. The courts are not, on both sides, are not favorable to the NCAA right now. And any kind of limiting anything, judges have mostly ruled against. And judges in this situation, they're not looking at it as a common sense solution for a sport. They're looking at it in terms of our capitalist society and free markets and, the American way. And I'm all for the American way. I just think in sports, you have to have some guardrails, because there are always rules in sports that aren't necessarily laws, but they're rules you have to follow. I mean, what if somebody sued somebody and said you could be, 20 yards downfield on a run play or a pass play as an offensive lineman and won? I mean, there's just some things you got to rule on. You got to have rules for. So I hope it stands. I think that's legit. Now, if it does stand, under no circumstances do they need to handle this like they do compliance. Not all compliance departments are created equal. Some compliance departments at some schools, the compliance director understands where his paycheck comes from, and he works for the school to make sure they're compliant and to handle any NCAA issues that arise with what's in the best interest of the school, competitively. Some compliance departments act like they're plants or moles or rats or whatever the heck you want to call it from the NCAA, and they're beholden more to Indianapolis. So what you're going to have is an uneven interpretation of these deals if it's school by school. I guarantee you Auburn's going to interpret market value differently than, Georgia or somebody like that. It's just going to be different. You need something uniform. Also, under no circumstances does this need to go through Indianapolis. They can barely pay people eligible in time. They need to spend the money and get a reputable third-party marketing firm, pay them like you're paying everybody else, and have them issue neutral valuations on deals. Now, I feel strongly they're going to get sued. I just think there's too much out there. I also think if the Title IX zealots, and they are zealots, start trying to say that the women's sports need the same revenue share as the men's sports, it's not fair and all that, if they don't base it on you get what you bring in, which is the American way. See, these people, they'll go free market all day long on NIL. But then they'll turn around and say, well, no, you need equity with the men and women's sports because of Title IX. It's all BS. But if they do that, then the NIL money is going to be needed, like you said at the top, to fulfill some of these big promises because you're not going to have enough in rev share to pay everybody. So there's a lot of moving parts. Like I said, I thought it was kind of typical NCAA clawing at power, especially when they put that you could go on probation and get ineligible crap in there. I get it, but I think that should have been a little more forthcoming. But overall, is it a good rule that I'd sign off on today for the good of the sport? Absolutely, because the guys are going to get paid with this rev share one way or the other. They're already going to be making plenty of money.
Yeah, but I don't see how you just throw it in the revenue sharing. So you're going to tell me all these freshmen that are coming in now with these NIL deals that the other guys were getting, they're going to give these Auburn freshmen or Alabama freshmen, they're going to be making more than the guys that have been there on the revenue sharing. And have they said how they're going to dole that out? Is that going to be equal across the board? You have this much for football. I mean, I don't know how that. I don't think it's that easy.
Yeah, well, it's going to work just like NIL, Barry. I mean, that's the question: is how much does each sport get? And then the coaches, general managers, recruiting personnel guys, the teams themselves have to figure out what are we going to pay everybody. That's the bottom.
I had an athletic director tell me, "Hey, I got a guy. He's not at a big school, but I said I got a guy making through the collective now $100,000, and he really ain't doing much for it. When this thing changes, he's going to be expected to still get the $100,000, and I'm not giving this guy $100,000 in revenue share, so he's going to be mad because he's gotten used to getting the $100,000, and that's about to go away."
Yeah, I mean, he can always get in the transfer portal and get fair market value elsewhere. I mean, that's the thing, Barry. As long as everybody's playing by the same rules, I mean, some of the money that's being paid out in NIL now is ridiculous. I mean, they're not worth, if you really put a true valuation on some of these guys, they're not worth that much. They're probably worth a good, more money than you and I had in college, right?
Yeah.
By far. But they're not worth these, mid six-figure deals that some of them are getting. And I think, is that fair? No. But is it fair for Texas A&M to pay one baseball player $600,000 in a non-full scholarship sport so they can buy the College World Series championship? Absolutely not. So we'll see what happens.
All right, go ahead, birthday boy. Today's his birthday, JC.
Well, that's all.
Happy birthday, Coach.
Oh, thank you. What you said to Barry and all these words for our listeners to understand is that we're never going to have a so-called limit. We may have a limit in thoughts or whatever, but the limit is going to be broken by all the rules, and it's going to be I thought this and I thought that. I don't think it's ever going to be a limit anymore in giving college kids stuff to money to spend to play.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that?
No, I don't think you are because, like I said, the settlement is a very, what I said, like utopian outlook. Like that would be perfect if they all just quit suing them and play by the rules in the House settlement, and everybody else drops their case, and we go forward, right? We move on. That would be ideal for everyone involved, except these greedy attorneys and social justice warriors who are out there and want to tear the sport completely down. Those are different. They have agendas that aren't for the good of the sport. But I fully expect them to get sued, and I fully expect them to lose. And so if that's the case, what you're going to have is rev share is going to be one bucket, and then NIL and your collective and all that's going to be another, and you're still going to have a disadvantage. Now, again, I'll maintain there is a point in time where if you are paying them too much, you're not going to have a football team. This unlimited NIL thing that, if y'all may disagree with me, but Alabama's had Nick Saban as their coach for 17 years. He's the type of guy that can get control of this. Phil Knight coming out and saying Oregon's got unlimited NIL. So if you're Dan Lanning, do you want 85 to 105 millionaires rolling around rural Eugene, Oregon at 18 years old driving Lamborghinis? How hard are they going to work? If basketball is a little different, but you've seen if you go all in on the big expensive guys, the one and dones like Calipari, you see that doesn't really equate winning big either. So that's my question is, when does it get to a point where the schools that are spending a ton of money aren't getting a return on it? And just like with Texas A&M a couple of years ago, and then the market sort of corrects itself. But unfortunately, I think you're right, Coach. At the end of the day, they're going to get sued. That whole $600 thing is going to get tossed, and we're going to be wild, wild west for a while. That's my prediction. I hope not for the good of the game. I think people should be smart, but that's the only group I think that can stop this is Congress. And, if Congress would just put into law the House settlement, I think it'd be fine, but chances are they will not. So I'm afraid this is sort of a paper tiger.
JC, in this state, Auburn's created quite a buzz in recruiting, especially within the state. And I think Kalen DeBoer and his staff came from the West Coast, and that's where their relationships were. And they went there and they got 5 stars out of California. And Hugh Freeze and his staff are just working the state. They've gotten 8 out of the top 10. I think the other 2 kids maybe are going to Ohio State. Is that a big deal? Them getting a lot of these guys in state? Dad, I think it is, although Alabama's rated higher. These kids recruit kids. If they start taking care of them and they start having success down there, it could make it a little harder for Alabama in the state when Nick Saban's basically ruled it when Brian Harsin and all those other guys were there. Times are changing a little bit in the state of Alabama.
Oh, absolutely. Give me Auburn's class every single day over Alabama's class. I mean, I could care less what it's rated. I think.
Really? So you think Auburn has a better class?
It's in state. I mean, that's the core of your program is always at both places, and really more so at Alabama than Auburn, because Auburn's always going into Georgia and Florida and gotten guys. But that's a big key. I mean, Alabama kids. There's a lot of good football players. They understand football. They love football. It's in the culture in that state. And look, the Iron Bowl, some years when Auburn's not worth a flip, and Alabama's been one of the best in the country, it's been very competitive. Auburn beat Alabama more than just about any other school during the Nick Saban era. So, that means something. It means something to the kids in that state, not just that game, but playing in the SEC. And I think anytime you corral a bunch of players within the state, it's important. That's what Nick Saban did. His first big recruiting class, I think it was 2008. They got Julio Jones and Marcel Darius and everybody else. So it means something. And I'm not surprised that Auburn's finally got their act together NIL-wise, which surprised me they were this late, but I think they were just kind of waiting and seeing. Maybe Bruce Pearl got a little more than he normally does. I don't know. But, they've rallied behind Hugh Freeze, and he's such a good recruiter. And now that you can pay players legally, I mean, he's going to be pretty lethal. So I'm not surprised by this. I'm a little surprised, 8 out of 10, but man, give me Alabama players, Alabama high school talent over California. Could care less what they're rated every day of the week. I just think that it's always smart, with the best of the best within your state to make sure you get those guys. Georgia goes more national now than they ever have, but they're still really, really good at getting the best of the best in Georgia. And I think that's always important for any school located in any state that cares about football.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what Barry and I have been talking about without criticizing. I think going out of state early is fine. I think after the years go by, that it catches up with you. Coach Bryant used to, really work very hard in state as well. Have we got strength of schedule correct? Alabama is the 9th team strength of schedule, and Auburn is 12. Ole Miss is somewhere in the neighborhood of 15. And I know we had Garth Grisman on yesterday, and I don't know who fixes these schedules out, but that's a little bit interesting to me. I don't know if you want to comment on that or not.
Yeah, sure. And I will say too, I want to make sure people know out there, I'm not critical of Alabama at all. I think it's much more about Auburn and Hugh Freeze and what they're doing. And them taking advantage, quite frankly, of a transition. Anytime you have a transition, recruiting is going to kind of go for a little bit. I'll say this about the schedule. I don't know. I don't think anybody does. It's like you look at it and you're like, I cover South Carolina, and you look at the schedule and you're like, man, there's a lot of teams either the Gamecocks don't beat or name brand teams like LSU. And you go, it'd be great to have Mississippi State and Florida and Arkansas on the schedule this year. Well, some years it's not good to have some years it's not good to have Mississippi State, Florida, and Arkansas on the schedule. It's just weird. So I don't know. Ole Miss at 15. I know they play Georgia. Ole Miss does not play Alabama this year, correct?
Correct. They do not play.
Yeah, so I know they got Georgia at home. That's great, but I don't look at their schedule and go, wow, that's a tough one. I think they because they got Florida, they got Mississippi State. They open with basically 4 home games. 4 or 5 home games. They have their 1 road games at Wake Forest, but I feel like they'll have more fans than Wake Forest at that one. Just like Tulane last year. So I think they have a favorable schedule. I wouldn't have them in the top 20. But Alabama, and Auburn, Auburn's pretty favorable early, but Auburn's got a lot of games that you look at and you go, well, that's kind of a toss-up. Auburn could end up being undefeated and then losing 2 or 3 in a row and then winning out until the Iron Bowl and being like 8-4 this year. But, Alabama's got that road game at Wisconsin, and I think that, along with playing Georgia, at home and drawing Tennessee on the road, having to play Iron Bowl and all that, I think that does put their schedule up there. That Wisconsin game, that's a tough place to play at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. It's a game I expect Bama to win, but that's a tough early test.
Yeah, of course, you follow it as Georgia. You follow that game with Georgia.
And Auburn gets to play Cal, at home. And Cal's, I guess they're an ACC team now. But, Auburn's got a bunch of home games right there in a row that I think culminates with Oklahoma. And I don't think Oklahoma's going to be very good this year. So it's a chance for the Tigers to get off to a good start. But then it turns brutal all of a sudden. So we'll see what happens.
JC, I don't know about the Pac-12. I know the Pac-12 was good football. Is it more difficult, in your opinion, to coach on the road in the SEC. These fans, when Alabama goes to LSU, when they go to Oklahoma, when they go to Tennessee, I mean, it's a different deal. I know Kalen DeBoer has coached in big games, but sometimes you have to go through it to understand. Is that a big deal for Kalen DeBoer to come in and have all those tough road games his first year as he's trying to maybe figure out this league?
Yeah, Shane Beamer, I think it was SEC Media Days or a press conference. I think he was asked by the Oklahoma media, because he was at Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley before taking the South Carolina job, the difference between the leagues. And instead of giving the canned answer, which is defensive line, which is true,
yeah,
he said the environments that you go into.
Yeah.
And it's true, because, Vanderbilt's probably the worst environment. Probably the best road trip, though, because your team usually wins, so you got to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
But, and so that one's kind of Wake Forest-esque. Kentucky's probably right there at 50. Now I'll say this about Kentucky. They pack it out, 65,000.
They sure do.
Now, you can't hear their marching band because they got a daggone DJ, and you feel like you're at the club half the time you're there. I mean, so it kind of, there's a lot to be desired, about like their in-game stuff, but they get loud just like they do in basketball. I mean, they show up. And so that's 15 out of 16. In the ACC, that would be up there with Virginia Tech, Clemson, Florida State, NC State, the better venues there. And it's every time you go on the road. Missouri's probably 14. And that crowd, to its credit, and they're about to remodel their stadium, it looks really good. For big games, they'll get in there and get after it. I mean, it gets loud at Barrett Field, too. So, go all the way on up to LSU and everybody else. So that is a big difference. Now, I don't know how it will affect an individual coach. I mean, I don't really see Kalen DeBoer being in awe of anything. No,
I'm not saying that, but
to understand it, yeah. Well, if you've never done it, it's sometimes it's hard to prepare your guys. If you don't know what to expect, you're ultimately guessing. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to have Alabama prepared. I think that Wisconsin game is actually going to help him be prepared because they're crazy up there. But, you got to go through, anybody will tell you in life, if you haven't been through something and you haven't experienced it, then you don't really know.
Yeah, I think sometimes on these road venues, I know in basketball, the momentum and the crowd get to go, and the momentum gets on their side. Like as a coach, sometimes you're just, it's just, there's nothing you can do, and that place is in a frenzy, and it just, and your kids start making mistakes, and they start getting out of character. I guess those are more the things I'm saying than there's really nothing you can do. And I've seen that happen in Williams-Brice Stadium many a times. At night.
I mean, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you call timeout in basketball, Barry, and the crowd gets louder, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You got to hope that they're in that timeout. They're doing some kind of like promotional with a dude on a unicycle or something to kind of calm them down. It gets louder in basketball. You're absolutely right about that. And football the same way. Baseball too. I mean, every sport, there's a reason you have a home field advantage or home court advantage. It's because it rattles the other team. So I'm absolutely with you there.
Yeah, that.
I don't really have anything else. I can't think of anything that's. I think the atmosphere at Alabama. I think it's interesting to say because people are wondering what's going on. I think the atmosphere at Alabama is really good. I think it's different, but I think it's good. It'll get some criticism when they lose their first game. It'll get a bunch of criticism. They'll blame it on the atmosphere. But I think as far as getting these guys to go out and play hard for you, right now, they're on the right track.
Well, look, here's the thing about Alabama. Nobody on earth will tell you that Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend is not a tough place to play with the Leprechauns and all that. It's not because their crowd sounds like Auburn's or LSU's.
Yeah.
It's because it's storied and you're in the presence of greatness. in basketball, the Smith Center at Chapel Hill probably be somewhere. Smith Center's different than Cameron Indoor, right? It's a lot different, but you're still in all. You still have the success. That's what I think of at Alabama. And I've talked to fans about this. South Carolina's actually going to Alabama the first time since 2009. I went in 2009, and there's just an awe feeling that you get there. I mean, you're walking through. You're doing the tourist thing. You're going to the Bryant Museum. You're looking at the statues. The crowd is loud. It's 100,000 people. It's a different kind of advantage than just noise. And I'm with you there. If Alabama loses a home game, it's not going to be because of the crowd. I can assure you of that, unless they leave early or something. I don't know, but I think that's a valid criticism at times. But I think it's a great atmosphere. Just depending on what you like, and there's a reason they rarely lose home games. I mean, they show up, they pack it out, and it's a great venue.
All right, JC, tell everybody where they can find all your great stuff.
All right, go to the Apple Podcast, Apple App Store and download the Chief Sports app. We got some big time content additions coming up. Also, you can catch JC and Morgan podcast, College Football 365 on jcandmorgan.com or on the app. And also, I'm right here with these folks every Thursday at 7:30 Central. It's the highlight of my week. And certainly, I appreciate you guys having me, and happy birthday, Coach.
Thank you, JC. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care,
All
man.
right, we'll get to break here. We want to thank Yellowwood Pressure Treated Pine for making this 7 o'clock hour possible. We're going to build the 5-star backyard, the fence, the deck, the pergola. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that's closest to you. And always remember, if it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, you don't want it.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good Thursday morning to you. It is back to school for lots of kiddos in the area. And unfortunately, we got our hands tied and fostered. My hat's off to the fire crews on the scene of this accident on 2059 in the northeast lane, shut down from Holly Springs to Joe Malisham. And this is all due to a big-time car fire. It's got traffic solid as you try to maneuver around that. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, everybody, it's Gary Harris. Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on the Gary Harris Show. The coach, Ellis Johnson, will join us to talk SEC football, plus Jeff Spiegel from ABC 3340. Your phone calls and more. That's the Thursday edition of the Gary Harris Show at 9 a.m.
Header, double whammy, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays hot and dry today with a sunny sky, the high 95. Clear tonight, the low 75. Tomorrow sunny with a high at 94. Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny both days and not as humid. Highs over the weekend around 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
At the Olympics, the U.S. women's basketball team won its quarterfinal match over Nigeria 88-74. That's 59 straight wins in Olympic competition for their U.S. women's basketball team. They'll face Australia in the semifinals Friday. In baseball, the Phillies beat the Dodgers 9-4 in a battle of division leaders. Kyle Schwarber hit 3 home runs, drove in 7 for Philadelphia as they take 2 of 3 in the series and reclaim the top record in baseball at 68-46. For the Dodgers, their lead in the NL West is down to 3 on San Diego and Arizona. Astros beat the Rangers 6-4, while the Mariners lose to the Tigers 6-2. Houston now has a half-game lead on Seattle for the top spot in the AL West. Yankees and Angels split a doubleheader in the Bronx, while the Orioles beat the Blue Jays 7-3. So Baltimore and New York are once again tied for the top spot.
For more information, contact us at 205-333-0231 or visit behwater.biz.
Inside the locker room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Allstate Insurance agent Andrew Kniffer. Andrew's my agent. Let Andrew become yours. He does a great job for me. He does a great job for the community. Here's some of the reviews on Andrew. Goes above and beyond, explaining the coverages and options available. You have so many different options when it comes to insurance, when it comes to home, life, auto, whatever you need. And he'll take the time with you to sit down and explain it all to you. So give them a call today. They can send you a free quote, and you can do what I did and make the switch. 205-722-9201. Andrew Kniffer, Allstate Insurance. All right. It's Dad's birthday today, so we're going to give him the floor. Were you about to say something now? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you with us?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Were you eating birthday cake?
No, I ain't no birthday cake.
All right.
What was the question?
No, we're going to play a little bit. We got Steve Skipper will join us here in about 10 minutes. Steve has a lot of paintings, and I think he's got a new one he's working on of Coach Saban. But they did have I talked about them practicing 2 days and a day off, 2 days, a day off. Well, they started back, and they're going 6 straight days, which will be a grind for these guys with a scrimmage. This Saturday, they'll practice again on Sunday and do a cleanup day. But, Coach Sheridan, Sheridan, right? I've got that right. Yeah. That we had on, Shepard. I'm sorry. I said Sheridan. I was thinking about Danny Sheridan. I was just reading something on him. Oh, Sheridan. Coach Sheridan, not Shepard. Okay. The other assistant coach, my offense coordinator, met with the media. We're just going to kind of play a little bit of that, let it play for a minute or two. And then we'll cut it off instead of just going clip by clip. We'll let it play a couple minutes, and then we'll cut off and talk about what Coach had to say. Here's Coach Sheridan, Nick Sheridan.
They can fire away with questions.
How's it going?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good. Awesome. Fire away, guys.
Enjoy some ice cream out there? No ice cream for me.
You were at Walgreens. Is this something you think about there? What's the kind of the
I couldn't say I paid a ton of attention to the post-practice snack, but I'm sure that's not the first time Coach is giving the guys ice cream.
What areas do you think the offense is ahead of schedule in this ball camp?
Ahead of schedule? Yeah. I think understanding of the scheme, I think some familiarity with the concepts that we're teaching them. Certainly you can see the growth that has taken place from spring and throughout the summer until now. Still lots of work to be done and a long way to go, but you certainly see guys understanding the concepts and the fundamentals a little bit better. I think Jeremy has been awesome and has had a great camp and had a great spring, and he's a really good football player. Certainly in addition to that, his leadership, his character, who he is as a person, his willingness to help those around him. He wants his teammates to do well, and obviously has knowledge of the system, has played in it, previously. And so Jerm's been great, and we're lucky to have him.
How do you see the time that he talked about how much he learned from the receiver room he spent time with last year? Like, how do you see that playing out now here?
Well, he was in a room, with 3 NFL players and coached by, in my opinion, the best wide receiver coach in the country. And so that development, that exposure, that was cultivated in that room, I certainly think helps any young player. And I think Jerm, obviously speaks to that, just what that looked like and who he was watching day to day and who he was being taught by, from a coaching perspective. And so, I think it's great. Any young player that's able to sit there and learn from older veteran players that go on to have great successful careers and to be able to sit there and continue to be taught by Coach Shep, I think that's a benefit to him.
Was the decision to move his doors today kind of a heat management thing, or?
No, I think it was just to try to rotate the grass fields to try to give them a little bit of a breather so that, they can withstand the length of the season. Also helps us just from an organizational standpoint, just field locations and what that practice may look like if you do have to come inside for weather or whatever it may be. So I think more than anything, it was just to give couple of the fields out there a little bit of a breather, so that they don't get beat up too much.
Was it welcome to those a little bit?
By
you or by the players?
I don't care where we practice. We just want an opportunity to get on the field and coach.
What do you feel like the biggest strength of the wide receiver group is, and where do you want to see growth?
I think the biggest strength is speed. I think it's a room that can run. I think that's pretty apparent. I think just the small details. I think that's true for every position. As the install starts to build, some of the fine details that we're harping on them, and Coach Shep is pouring into them each and every day. It's just making those things habit. And so that's what I would say.
How do you think the guys acclimated to full pads today?
For us, once you get into uppers and you got shoulder pads on, there's a lot of similarity. We had a couple live periods today. I thought the guys took care of the ball. I think that's the biggest thing when you get into live portions of practice, the ball carriers holding on to the football. And so I thought they acclimated and did a nice job that way. I'm sure there'll be things that we'll go back and watch the film and want to improve on. But, for a lot of the guys, whether you put 5 pads on for the O-lineman, that doesn't change their practice. You know what I mean? And so it's really more the runners, the guys that are carrying the ball, acclimating to getting full speed tackles.
What are you hoping to see on Saturday scrimmage?
I think simple execution, taking care of the football, communication, alignment, assignment. Those are the things you're looking for in the first scrimmage.
Taking practices in, where do you think the offensive line is?
Improving. Yeah, I think that they're improving. I think we're better today than we were yesterday, and we're not as good as we're going to be tomorrow. And I think that's still, the competition is still going, and I think it's early in camp. I think when you get past the first scrimmage, you kind of have a better sense of where that's at. Coach Cap's been rotating those guys, and that's been by design. And we try to cross-train the linemen anyways. Tackles playing both sides, guards playing center, etc. But that's ongoing.
Back at Washington, what are the dynamics between Ryan Grove and Caleb DeBoer works so well?
Trust. Yeah, I think that'd be the easiest answer is trust.
We hear a lot about leadership from a lot of coaches and players. Does it seem to be that there are a lot of leaders out there?
I certainly think we have leadership on our team and specifically on the offensive side of the ball. And I know Kane would echo the same thing on defense. And I think we're trying to cultivate that each and every day. You can't have enough guys that have influence. And so that's not a concern of mine.
You talked about install. You have guys from almost every position group on offense that have come to Washington here. How much does that kind of help having those guys in those rooms that kind of are more familiar with offense?
I certainly think it doesn't hurt, because they have an understanding, as you mentioned, of just some of the communication, some of the terms. It's not identical. There's some tweaks, adjustments. I think every staff does that. You try to evolve and get better. But there's certainly a lot of similarities on the roots and foundational things that we do on offense. And so I don't think it hurts. And I think probably the biggest thing with that is just the character of those kids and their willingness to help. They care about the team and, I think their teammates could speak more specifically to that, but at least from my vantage point, that's what I've seen.
All right, there was Coach Sheridan in the media. They just kind of gather around and they say, hey, fire the questions. And so that's kind of what, Dad, just your thoughts about what you heard.
Well, quite different, probably not as rigid, not on say, sometimes with Coach, his personality and the way they coach their team, there could be some questions that aggravated you. I think here, these guys express it pretty openly. It's a little bit of a different time slot. The practice is over. You're out in there trying to answer their questions. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. It's just different, and everybody's looking for some reason for them to fail. And the coaches are, I don't know.
I don't agree. I think people are looking for reasons to be optimistic right now. I don't think they're. I don't think people are saying they're going to fail. I think people. No,
I don't mean. I shouldn't have said it like that. I think once they do have a loss, they have a tendency to call that a failure, and I'm not sure it is. I agree more with you than what I said. I think it's just, what can we expect kind of stuff, and I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I keep hearing this.
The one voice thing is different.
I keep hearing this cross-train. So they want to train these guys in the offensive line to know all the spots. So I think they want to do that on the defensive side as well. So if somebody goes down, they can go pull the best player that's out there, not the guy that just plays that position. This guy's the next best guy. So we'll just plug him in and move it around and get our, whatever that is, 3, 4, 5 best players on the field. So
you're talking about, I think, more so defensively than offensively.
Well, I think they're cross-trained on the offensive line now. So everybody kind of knows every position. So they'll have their starters. If a guy goes down, they're going to go pull the best lineman they got. And he should know all the spots, and they can kind of move it around. They may have to move a guy, but they're going to get their best players on the field. And so they're trying to teach these guys to get in the defensive backfield. If a guy goes down, they're going to go pull the next best guy and get him on the field. So I do hear that word a lot.
Yeah, I think cross-training is a big word there, and if they can do that, and really and truly, Barry, you don't have a position to play. You do it quarterback naturally, you do it wideouts naturally, but in the line, both offensive and defensively, you've got a lot more people that can play.
Yeah. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get to Steve Skipper. We'll find out what projects Steve's got going now. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have got a major mess in Foster's, unfortunately. Police have had to shut down 2059 on the northeast lanes between Holly Springs and Joe Malisham, all due to that accident. The investigation continues. And 43, not much better because folks are taking that as an alternate.
Or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays hot and dry today with a sunny sky, the high 95. Clear tonight, the low 75. Tomorrow sunny with a high at 94. Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny both days and not as humid. Highs over the weekend around 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. I want to thank our great sponsor, Tuscaloosa Toyota. We talked to Justin yesterday. Boy, they have a great website, TuscaloosaToyota.com. You can look at all the new inventory, the pre-owned inventory. If you want to schedule a service, you can do it right there to save you some time. If you want to rent a Toyota for the weekend, you're not sure which one you want to buy, then rent one. You can drive it there. They make that easy for you. Great financing rates out there right now. So go to the website or swing by Skyland Boulevard, see Justin, see David, and tell them that Wimp and Barry sent you. All right, we'll get right to the Tuscaloosa Toyota hotline. Dad, I'll let you bring Steve Skipper into the show.
Well, I was fortunate enough to run into Steve the other day, and he's so talented, and he's done so much in the way of art and so forth for individuals and Alabama and all those kind of things. I asked him if he'd be on our show, and I know he's doing something for Coach Saban. I'm going to let him talk about that in just a minute because we need for him to sell some pictures. Steve, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. Barry and I do. I got Barry, my son's, on with us. Appreciate you being on with us.
Well, Coach, it's an honor for me to be on, and honored to see you the other day.
Tell our listeners a little bit how that gift that you have got started. We're going to talk about Nick in just a minute, but how did you? It's unbelievable the abilities that you have in that area. Talk a little bit about how that got started.
Well, as a child, probably about 16 years old, I call it a child, but became a Christian, found out where the gift came from, and fell in love with the giver and started using it. And the next thing you know, it grew into a business. kind of snowballed down the hill and grew into a business and met a lot of different great people and great athletes and coaches, and including yourself. And it's just been a tremendous blessing.
You're now with the big deals, of course, Coach leaving, retiring. Certainly, gives you a great opportunity to do some things involving him with your work. Tell our listeners about that and where they be able to. I know they would like to have something for the years to come. Tell our listeners all about what you have been doing, going to do, and how we can get that.
Well, I'll tell you, I met Coach Saban when he first came to Alabama, and a lot of people, think that he's the kind of guy that you see on the football field, but he's different. When I met him, when I got ready to meet him, people were telling me about he's this way and he's that way, but when I met him, he was totally different. He's an extremely nice man, extremely kind, and he understood some things that I was going through and gave me an opportunity. And he actually commissioned the first national championship punt that I did, and he endorsed it, and we formed a relationship from that time on that made a huge difference in my life. And I think his retiring kind of touched me in a different way, because I think that when people, look at his retirement, if you have a relationship with him, you start thinking about what he meant to you. And in the painting that I'm working on of him now, it kind of chronicles his career, and his career is not just football. The things that mean a lot to him, I think that, we included Miss Terry, because she's an integral part of his life and an integral part of everything that he's done. And at the same time, we included a portrait of his parents, him with his parents when he was a kid. Yeah. And at the same time, we included, when he played himself and what he got from his father, because his father coached him football. His father coached him in life. And then at the same time, one of the things that's important to him away from the field is the players graduating and receiving their degrees, and we included that kind of thing in there. And it's just like from the right side of the painting, he's looking back on all of that. And the stuff that means a lot to him and makes him who he is, and what it means a lot to players and coaches and people who know him.
Before Barry says something, how can people get that painting and so forth?
Well, it's going to be reproduced into a limited edition, and right now, in the artist stage of it right now. It's kind of nobody could get me to do this interview but Wimp Sanderson.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm kind of, in the zone right now, but it's going to be on my website, SteveSkipperStudio.com, and it's going to be a limited edition, and we're going to try to honor Coach in the deepest way that we can. When I first met him, we designed a seal, a gold seal that had his signature on it and the Alabama A, and he wanted me to use that gold seal on any print that I did of either him or his players. And so I just finished the painting of Jalen Milroe, and we used this seal, and this will be the last time we use the seal with Coach Saban, his painting. And I got a funny story I can tell you before we get through.
Sure.
I got a commission from Buckingham Palace not too long ago.
I was just going to say that before Barry spoke. Go ahead.
Yeah, to do a painting of Queen Elizabeth, and it's the first time an African American has ever been commissioned to paint her, and the painting is a part of the Royal Collection. Cool. And while I was working on the painting, the Iron Bowl was going on, and I was kind of watching it out of my left eye. And Jalen Milroe threw the pass to beat Auburn. So my phone started blowing up, and people were asking if I was going to do a painting of that play. And so I had to pause the painting of the Queen in order to do the painting of Jalen Milroe.
So that means it really was a big play, right, Steve?
Oh, man, the British people had to find out what Alabama football meant because they were asking me, are you finished with the painting of the Queen? I said, I'll be finished in a few more weeks. And so, and the fact that I was working on Jalen's painting at the same time. So Alabama football is big in Great Britain.
Going back to Coach, we're talking with Steve Skipper, going back to Coach Saban's pain, he's so thorough in everything that he does. When we saw SEC Media Days, I heard him talk about that he went and watched every spring game in preparation for this. I'm sure with this painting and all, he probably had a lot of thoughts and ideas that he shared with you. Now, he let you be the professional there, but I'm sure Coach has a lot of vision. Just talk about what you saw there with that.
Well, like you said, he's very exact. And the images that we used in the painting and at the same time the detail and the realism that's put in it, it's going to take about 1,500 hours to finish it the right way. Yes. And a lot of times, when you spend that much time on a painting, people start asking, is it a photograph? And so Coach is extremely an extreme perfectionist.
Yeah.
And I think if you look back on his relationship with his father, he got a lot of that from his father and his mom. But at the same time, the painting, it kind of chronicles his career, but it tells a story, as you look at it, and we'll make sure that people know the story that's told because he's such I don't know how to say this, more than a great football coach. I think that the off-the-field stuff, the stuff that he and Miss Terry does to make a difference in people's lives, he told a story that his dad taught him about treating everybody the same way. And I think he's the epitome of that. And a lot of people think that it's just hype and stuff. I'm here to tell you, he's a real deal on and off the field.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, not only are you doing this with him, but you're doing the others, as you've already said, of the people surrounding him, which is quite unusual. I didn't know exactly how it was coming down, but that is a how many hours would that take place for all that stuff? How long would it take you to do all that?
Well, it's going to take at least about 1,500 hours to paint it. And then at the same time, I'm going to have to go to Atlanta to supervise the reproduction and design the framing and everything. And it's going to be a job. It's going to be something that we can work at.
And so you said you have to go supervise the reproduction. Talk to the listener about what that means and how many of these paintings will actually be out there for the public to purchase.
There's two kinds of reproduction, and one is called lithograph, that people are really familiar with. But then there's another kind called giclée. It's a French form of reproduction, and with lithograph, the prints or the ink is just pressed into the paper, 4 different colors, process. But in giclée, it's about 12 colors that are sprayed and on the paper strategically, and the colors are brighter and it looks more like the original painting.
Yeah.
And so I'll go to a place that I work with in Atlanta, where I'll supervise that process and make sure that the prints are perfect. And so when we finish doing that, we'll start on the framing and get everything out to the public and get our shipping and everything set and work with Coach and make sure that, he likes everything before we do anything.
They can go to your website and find out.
Oh, yeah, go to the website. And everything will be available. And, it's just a labor of love and appreciation to him. Because, like I said, he made a tremendous difference in my life. And I'll never forget it.
This going and doing with the Queen, Jiminy Christmas. Tell our listeners a little bit more about that, because we kind of know the inside of Coach Saban, but the Queen thing is very, very interesting.
Well, what they wanted to do, they wanted me to do something that they would later, if it pleased them. And one thing that you're working with Great Britain and Buckingham Palace, you're working with a kingdom. And it's a totally different ballgame from a kingdom and a democracy and how you deal with them. Huh. And so what they wanted to do was to make the painting a part of the royal collection, and that's a deep honor within itself to an artist. And so they accepted the painting as a part of the royal collection, and it's going to affect the appreciating value of everything that I've done and everything I'm doing. And so Coach Saban's painting falls right in that category under the value appreciation of the Queen, the Queen's painting being in the royal collection, and it's a deep honor. I was nominated to the United States Sports Academy Sports Artist of the Year in 2023, and that was a great honor. But I'm just looking forward to pouring everything that I got into the painting of Coach Saban, and as much as we did the one of the Queen and one of Jalen Milroe.
Okay.
Tell the listeners how they can go, and I'm looking at a lot of your paintings right here now on your website there, where they can go and look at all the different things you've done, how they can purchase it.
Okay, it'll be at my website at steveskipperstudio.com, and the process of purchasing is within the website. Just click on the image, and we'll be putting up the stuff with Coach Saban within the next couple of days. All of that will be up, and we just put the stuff up on the Queen because one thing that most artists don't do that's in the Royal Collection, they don't retain the reproduction rights to the artwork, but I was able to negotiate that and retain reproduction rights to the Queen's painting. So reproductions of that painting will be on the website also. And I think that they're negotiating right now for me to start doing artwork for King Charles. And so to go from Nick Saban to King Charles is going to be a kind of easy transfer because Coach Saban is a powerful person in my life already.
Well,
I'm surprised, Dad. I'm surprised he's even talking to us. All these
yeah, I am too. I appreciate what you've done,
great.
For us in basketball as well. So he would have been a real tribute to not only football but to the university itself. And I appreciate you taking time to be on with us.
Great stuff.
I really appreciate you, Coach, and everything that you've done and the legacy that you have built. We are celebrating a lot of the good stuff that's happening with the basketball team, but we know that the shadow of Wimp Sanderson will forever be there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your thoughts. And, again, if we can do anything for you, anything else that you need to say as you go through this thing, we'll holler back at you. You got my phone number, and we'll go forward with another interview.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it very much.
Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. If you look at these paintings, like, it does look like it's the picture, like the detail and the talent of Steve Skipper is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I just you can't really be.
It's hard to describe. So anyway, go to Steve Skipper studio. All right, before we get to break here, let's tell them about our great friends over at Bryant Bank.
Well, we talk about Bryant Bank. We talk about a bank that is a traditional banking experience for you. If you go into Bryant Bank, they'll be your friends. They'll have the same area code and zip code that you do. They will be the kind of bank that will give you online banking around the clock, give you the freedom and flexibility to bank the way you need to. And you'll be banking with people that you trust. I can promise you that's true for me as I bank here in Birmingham. So whether you're in Tuscaloosa and there's 4 locations, or whether you're where you can get to a Bryant bank, you need to do so. They'll be darn sure that your bank is taken care of. We talk about the targeting all the time of banks. They'll be interested in trying to help the school kids in that city on nonprofit boards. They know exactly what they're doing. And I think that you will find going into Bryant Bank and visiting with the banker and the people that are surrounding him will be very, very good for you. So hopefully you'll go by and tell them you heard it inside the locker room.
All right, the phone lines will be open for the rest of the show. If you want to call, we got a couple app messages that came in wishing you a happy birthday. Let's pull those up there. Let's see. From Homewood, Alabama, 14 Bama says happy birthday to Wimp, and then Josh over in Northport always sends this app message, says happy birthday to Coach. Hope your day is great. If anybody has a Steve Skipper painting you want to talk about,
800-8000 or visit Mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The best place for your high school football coverage is right here on Tide 100.9 and online on Tide100.9.com.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. I get right up to the Great Southern Hotline, and we'll bring Air into the show. Good morning, Air.
Good morning. Hey, good morning. Good morning, Barry.
Oh, this is the Air. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Air. What's up, Air?
Hey, I wanted to, first of all, wish Coach a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
And then secondly, I didn't hear the first part of Steve Skipper's interview, but what's the deal with Nick's painting? It's going to have a lot different people that have been involved around it.
Yeah, his life. It's going to have Miss Terry in there. I think it's going to have him looking back over his life. Sound like he had with his dad, with obviously the players that he influenced. So it sounds like Coach played a large part in what he wanted, and we know how thorough he is. I imagine this will be a big seller for Steve Skipper.
Well, sure. Well, when he said that, I'm going to talk about this, but I just thought that certainly reminds me of the ones that Steve did for Coach, because that painting had all of the different people that influenced Coach's life.
Yeah. Had a picture, obviously, Mom. Like, had Gary Waits and got some people in the background there, kind of in the crowd, saying Lana. Yeah.
Tim Farmer.
Yeah.
And I think so. There's some parallels there, in my opinion.
Yeah, very talented guy. Of course, I guess you get to go paint the Queen unless you got.
No, absolutely. And then lastly, since JC brought up the Smith Center in North Carolina on Coach's birthday, I can't help but tell my favorite Will coaching story was, we beat North Carolina here in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah,
I'm sure you both remember that. And then we had the return game up there to Chapel Hill, and I don't remember exactly what the score was at the first time out, but it was something like, 48-0, North Carolina. And Coach was not very happy. And we were sitting right there behind y'all's bench, and Coach walked over to a young man by the name of Marcus Webb, and he got pretty close, to where he could make sure Marcus could hear him. And he said, "Marcus, did you get one rebound?" And that's a great story. It even ends better, because the next Christmas I'm cleaning out my jacket. Hey, Marcus Webb, one rebound.
Oh, yeah. So you broke up on us, but you had the box score in your jacket, and he ended up getting. Coach, you asked me to get one rebound. I got one rebound.
Marcus Webb. He should have asked for 20.
Yeah, asking you separate. Don't ask for just one. He set the bar too low, didn't he, Air?
Yeah, you got to expect more from him.
Yeah. So
anyway, I love that story.
I've heard you tell it many a time. So, Air, we appreciate you, my man. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. I know Air will be buying one of those Steve Skipper, Nick Saban prints. One of those things probably be top dollar, too. I'm looking at
yeah, they will be.
I'm looking at a print here of A.J. McCarron, and it starts at about $225. You can go all the way up to $1,545, I guess, with if you want to get it signed. All right, get back to the Yellowwood hotline. Get Tom in. Morning, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Morning again, Barry. Good morning, Coach. I thought that was an outstanding interview with Mr. Skipper that y'all had. I had heard him before, but not like that. And what a great interview, and I appreciate y'all bringing that to us.
Yeah, somebody just texted me and said he needs to have in that Nick Saban painting, Jimmy Sexton in the background. With a dollar sign above his head.
Holding those bags of money. Hey, I tell you what, thinking along those lines, they ought to do, Mr. Skipper ought to do one with all these coaches that's made out like bandits since Coach Saban came to the SEC. Let them be holding bags of money, too.
Yeah, let him be sitting up on the throne, and then they're all standing there with all their bags of money.
Not a bad idea. I hope he's listening. That'll go.
Yeah. He's made a lot of people. He's made a lot of guys rich, rich.
I tell you what, I hate to start going down the list because it would take all day and night to get them all in there. But
yeah, I hope they all send him a nice Christmas gift because he deserves it.
Well, I tell you what, think about this. Generally a good salesman's right around 5% of the sale, right, and his commission. If Coach Saban got 5% of everything that he touched, it went to gold on real estate and salaries and all that kind of stuff. Just think about the buyouts at Auburn at 5%. My God, that would be unreal.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Malzahn and Harbison and all those, they can thank Coach Saban for getting that early exit with a big check.
Yeah. How about Lane Kiffin and Sark? How much money? What do they owe, Coach?
Oh, yeah. Not even counting the tree.
I think they deserve more than 5%.
Well, and then I was thinking about all those real estate developments and apartments and everything around Tuscaloosa. I mean, Nick's Kids Foundation should never, ever have to worry about money.
Mm-mm. Nope.
But hey, I wanted to say this. I really appreciate Mr. Skipper and how he addressed your coach as he was going off the air from his interview. I thought that was very interesting, and I don't want to hear anybody else talk about me saying anything in disagreement with Coach. If you heard what Mr. Skipper said,
he did.
Everybody ought to be calling in right now going, you know what, old Tom's right.
I did hear that was the only guy he'd be doing this interview with about Coach Saban. So, because Gary was laughing at me telling me he stole his guest. I said, no, you couldn't have got him. Right.
Well, now. Gary's had him on before, and he doesn't get that kind of response from him.
Call Gary and tell him that during the show.
Oh, no. He's program of the year. He's walking around with peacock feathers on.
Yeah.
You can't tell it, son.
Yeah, he's got Rodney Orr posting all their interviews. They get all these hits on it. Everybody wants to hear.
I guarantee you.
Yes.
And, but anyway, I wanted to say that, Mr. Skipper told your dad that he really appreciated everything that he had done as a coach at Alabama. I thought that was huge.
Yeah, it was huge. It's true. So, Tom, we appreciate you.
Thanks, Tom.
Take care.
All right, see, you're learning, Chase, as you do these shows with us, how these guys that do these paintings and all the different things that go on.
That was a good interview. I like that was fortunate that he was willing to come on.
Where'd you run into him?
Ran into him at Hong Kong Tailors.
Hong Kong Tailors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. I think I heard Scott Griffin used to do a Hong Kong Tailors ad.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
So I guess he and.
Gosh, I didn't. Yeah, he did. You're exactly right. He got a great memory.
Yeah, I can remember Scott. Well, he did it when he was on the. He used to do a show here on Tide.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
At Hong Kong.
Right, Sonny and I were right in there with him, not with him, but doing the show at the same time.
Yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and take this last break up the phone lines. Jim Harbaugh's innocent. It's Missouri. And Greg Stanky today for
it'll be all changed tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll go back. Chase, tomorrow we're going back and we're going to play country music he doesn't like when we come back from break. All kind of different things that he doesn't like tomorrow. This is Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have got a big issue in Foster's right now. 2059 on the northeast lanes between Holly Springs Lane and Joe Malisham Parkway. Shut down due to a major accident involving a tractor trailer on fire. And lots of folks are taking 43 on the northbound lanes as an alternate. And that's also extremely heavy. That's got a solid delay back to Ralph Loop Road. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of The Game, one day closer to Alabama's first scrimmage. We're going to have a lot of updates. We'll talk a little Alabama practice. We'll share some audio with you. We've also talked with Rodney Orr. We'll also talk with Brad Powers, all starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program.
And shop AI-ready PCs powered by Snapdragon X Series processors at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 26 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-2503. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays hot and dry today with a sunny sky, the high 95. Clear tonight, the low 75. Tomorrow sunny with a high at 94. Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny both days and not as humid. Highs over the weekend around 90. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. All right, kids are getting ready to report back to college. I know a lot of kids are coming back here to Tuscaloosa. They're moving in Tutwiler Dorm. They're getting ready for Rush Week. The girls are getting ready for Rush. You'll have all the TikToks now of the OTD. What is it called? Whatever they wear for Bama. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. Oh, yeah, it's a big thing. There's a lot of people I've talked to that are friends of mine, college baseball, they're pulling scholarships here a week or two before the fall starts. Guys that have signed think they're coming, and all of a sudden, I've got to talk to a guy last night. He had gone in and signed a lease at a place, and then now they're telling him they're pulling the scholarship. He's
great.
Locked into
I don't understand. What sport?
Baseball. They try to bring in, this year they can keep 40, but they'll bring in 50 guys. Some of these places, some of them bring in 45. They can battle it out in the spring, but now they're getting worried because of that 34 the next year. So they're trying to trim now, but they're trimming these guys like now 2 weeks before school starts. So these guys don't have anywhere to go, or they're scrimming the last. Some guys have gone in and already signed leases at places. And when you sign these, I know Chase can tell you, man, you sign a lease at a place, these people don't let you out of these leases now.
Heck no. You better tell that right.
They're going to hold you to that lease, so you're sitting there trying.
There'll be some reverse lawsuits, some new lawyers.
Yeah, so you better find a way to get me out of that lease. Because wherever I go, I'm going to have to have a lease as well. So can you imagine you'd be sitting there with 2 leases? But we're still trying to decide how many scholarships they ask you. I was reading a thing last night on D1 baseball. They're talking about the SEC, maybe the first year only, and I'm saying only because that's not 24 or 25 scholarships. Now, they still have 34 guys. They just got to spread those 24 or 25 out over 34 guys. But I thought the SEC would just, boom, go straight to 34, but they're acting like they may not do that. But all the schools are getting ready to start back, and so college football is right around the corner. It's got to be a great time to be a player right now. All you got to really worry about is practicing and getting some good food and taking care of your body. You don't have to worry about studying. You don't have to worry about going to class. There's a rumor out there that's saying that Deion Sanders' son has never attended a class at Colorado. Everything he takes was online, so he's never even been on campus.
Yeah, I heard about that. Oh, my.
Is that true? Is that thing going to blow up in Colorado, Dad? It looks like it's heading in the wrong direction.
I think it's going to blow up, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. Yep. All right, well, that's it for today. We got Coach Crow tomorrow?
Yeah, we do.
All right, so Jack Crow tomorrow. Now, if you want to talk college football, he's the best. We all try to talk it, but he knows it inside and out. So look forward to picking Coach Crow's brain tomorrow. Also, we'll check in with our main man, Coach Sonny Smith, in the second hour. Take your phone calls throughout the show. We appreciate Steve Skipper being on with us this morning. In the first hour, we had JC, which JC always does a great job for us. We appreciate him as well. All right, we'll get out of here and make way for the Gary Harris Show. Gary's in and ready to go early this morning, so he's ready to roll. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great day, everybody.